welcome back to the channel. So we're actually working on the Lexus IS250 today. It's been a really long time since I've done any projects on this vehicle. So in today's video, we're going to be replacing the dash vent on here. I know a lot of you guys have broken dash vents from either breaking it yourself, trying to remove your radio, or just over time, all the little slits and everything on there end up failing and falling apart and deteriorating. So in today's video, we're going to be replacing it with a new aftermarket one I found on AliExpress. I think they also have it on Amazon now too, so I'll have links down in the description for this thing if you guys need it for your IS250 or 350 or just any 2IS from 06 to 08. So stay tuned. So this is the aftermarket one I found on AliExpress. It was like 50 bucks. And I got it within like a week or two after I ordered it. As you can see, it's all brand new. All the foam is all brand new. I don't know how cheap this foam is and how long it's gonna last, but it's definitely gonna be better than most of y'all who are going about 20 years on these vents that you have in your IS250 or 350 right now, especially the 06 through 08 version. So when I look at this thing, it doesn't come with the lights, the LED lights. So you're gonna have to transfer the ones off of your vehicle onto this one. I noticed this thing still has the color LEDs inside, which light up, I think, green on this vehicle. Mine were converted to white LEDs a long time ago, so I'm gonna have to figure out if mine can swap over here without having to take this thing apart to do it customized, because I had to take my original one apart to customize. So one of the things for sure that everybody does, almost guaranteed, because they don't know how to take this thing out, they'll break these 4 clips right here. There's 1, 2, 3, and 4 right inside the vent there. The way you're supposed to take those off, if you haven't broken them already, you're supposed to take a screwdriver, pull them down, and they actually latch into a little spot inside the vent there. And then once you latch it, it basically frees this thing up and you can slide it out. In order for you to clip it back in, you basically just unlatch that thing from that edge and just slide it in, and it naturally just locks in place. So a lot of people don't know that, so they'll try to yank this thing out, and then they end up breaking all of those, which I've done on mine in the past also. And then they also mess up the rest of this when they do that. So inside the vehicle on my OEM one, you can see all these things that are all broken on mine. On this side, I actually glued it, super glued it, so it doesn't even move anymore. And this thing barely works anymore because all of the foam and everything is all broken in there, so it doesn't really seal this thing up anymore. But this side, I had to lock it in place. I have side to side, but I don't have any vertical. This side, it just basically broke all the little, and what it is there's 2 little vertical things on there that break. So anyways, like I said on the other one, all those 4 little clips right there on mine, they're all in place, but I think 2 of them right now I can't lock down to pull out, so I actually have to have like 3 hands to kind of get that thing out. So what you need to do is just basically get a flat head and find those spots and pull them down right there. So that one clipped in place, so you could kind of hear it. Gotta do it on this one too, so it clips in place. I think these 2 are the broken ones. Oh, that one worked. Maybe it's this one right here. Oh, actually, I got them all to clip in place, so I must have fixed this at some point. I thought I had them all broken, but maybe I did fix it, because I did have a spare one of these that was all broken, and I might have swapped those things out. So now that you have those things clipped off, you could pretty much pull it out if it works. I don't want to damage anything because, as you can see, I have a brand new dash, so I'm not gonna mess up anything by forcing it out. So once you take it out, make sure everything clears and don't force it. As you can see, we got it out. That little plastic piece that broke was right here. It was one of the ones that kind of keeps this thing in place. You can see some of this glue that I used down here to keep everything intact last time I messed with this thing. But the first thing we need to do is just undo the wire harness. So it's just 2 clips right here. Go ahead and undo that wire harness. And that's really the only thing holding it on. And we could just remove this right after that. Right here, once you snap those 2 things out, pretty much clears everything out, and we could take it apart and compare it. Inside you can see what it clips into. So the bottom kind of clips into here, the top clips into that spot right here, the 4 little spots into the dash, and then pretty much everything else you kind of see what's in there. Not much that holds it in place other than those 4 clips on top. So you can see almost an identical match, just a little bit of a shade off between the OEM one, which is this, and the new one right there, but it's good enough for 50 bucks versus like $250 for this one from the dealer. Other than that, you could kind of see all the parts and everything, pretty much all perfect copy of it. What I was mentioning earlier is these things right here, they're actually replaceable, and I know for sure I replaced it with that spare one that I use for parts, those clips, because I know previously I had broken at least 2 of these, if not more of them. Now all 4 of them are intact and they actually all work and they clip right in. So usually when you're done with them, you could just pop them back up and then clip it in using that compression fitting. So this one over here is actually all put down also on the new one. Other than that, most of the markings are about the same. Here obviously it doesn't have the IS on it or the OEM part number. Right here, so this part is where the light mounts to, and you can see on here there's an LED light right there, and on here it's no LED light, so you got to swap those 2 things over on both. Now I can kind of see what I did with the white LED conversion. What I did was I took off this little refractor in here, which is a colored refractor inside there, and I just put the LED straight and I turned it so it shines the light to a little turner right here, so when we take this apart we'll kind of see what's inside of there. As far as what ends up breaking right inside of there, there's a connector that basically connects all of the little veins. So this one is actually broken, and in the past I've actually 3D printed a part for at least my IS300 to fix that, but right here you can kind of see in there, and you can definitely try to 3D print that and see if you could fix the OEM one if yours is still in pretty good condition like mine has. But on the side over here you can see where I glued everything back together, where it started falling apart, and now that side doesn't move up or down, where this side's all broken and taken apart. So earlier, you know how we hooked it down, so I'll show you how to unhook it right now. So what you want to do is just go in there and just pop it up when you have it ready or off camera, and then just pop it up there. And then you'll see all the things go up. So now it's basically ready to go back in. So just gotta remember to pop, that's how this thing works on top. So I'm gonna go ahead and just pop up the whole white thing and take that whole assembly out and see how I did my LEDs last time. So there you can see what I did. I basically soldered an LED into that thing right there, I put a little piece of heat shrink so it wouldn't short out, and I turned it up so it aims the white LED into that little turner, and it gets basically the white illumination. And I took out that little piece inside that refracted the light that goes straight up and over. I'm gonna go ahead and remove the aftermarket one and see how this thing works. It's probably the same exact way, and I could probably swap that white. So the odd thing is this thing comes in an amber color, but the OEM one was not amber, it was green. So this makes no sense why they made this amber. So if you get this aftermarket and you leave it as is, it's gonna light up amber and not green. So they didn't bother to grease the aftermarket one, so I'm gonna go ahead and just put a little bit of lithium grease right on the gear there, just like the same way it is on the OEM one. Went ahead and greased it. We'll go ahead and pop the So the LED covers and lights snapped in perfectly, goes in and lines up just the way we need it to illuminate that white LED in there. So greased it all up so it's ready to go back in, and we're done with this project. All right, once we put it in there and we snap everything together, just make sure you push it in, kind of clear the radio little brackets on the inside, and then just kind of squeeze that thing over. You're gonna need 2 hands to do this, and you want to line up underneath really the only clip is this center clip. It goes right into the center of the radio, so you just gotta make sure that lines up there and it snaps in. Everything else kind of just goes in place, and then there's little hooks that hook above here on the radio. And then once you do that, those 4 clips, you can do it after the fact and snap those in once it's put. So we got everything back in. That thing is almost a perfect match when you look at it against the radio and everything. That looks pretty damn good. You notice that little gap on my dash? That's always been there since I got this new dash like 8 years ago. So I didn't really ever bother me with that gap because I got a new dash and it wasn't melting anymore. But yeah, that's definitely there. I'm not sure if this dash was made for maybe the newer versions where it fits a little taller, but I'm not sure, so it never really fit right. So once we go in here, like I said, go ahead and just pop these things up manually, and then that will hold your that'll hold in, and it'll just basically compression fit to the dash there. But yeah, remember, when you ever have to remove this again, you just pull it back down and just hook it on the bottom there so you can release these clips. But other than that, the only other thing that's holding it is that little centering clip that goes into here, and everything else kind of compression fits into the dash. But this thing pretty much works now, slides back and forth, not broken, and everything's good. And I have a brand new vent. Thanks for joining me all the way to the end of this video on changing that vent on the IS250. If you guys need the exact same vent, go ahead and check out all the links I have down in the description. I'll link to AliExpress, to eBay, and to Amazon for all the various models they make this for, in case you need it for your own vehicle. If you found this video useful, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Turn on bell notifications to get notified every time I upload a video. For all these different projects, if I can do it, you guys can do it. I want to thank you guys for watching, and I'll talk to you guys next time.